Welcome back to another episode of Rico Soul Italia Eats. In this episode, we'll share with you exactly how I made this Puerto Rican style pernil, our picnic shoulder. It was moist, tender, juicy, succulent, and oh so ever flavorful. And just as you would expect, the skin turned out perfect, nice, crispy, and crunchy.
Oh, yeah. You hear that, folks? You hear that? You hear that, folks?
We had this with my wife's amazing Puerto Rican style rice and beans, as well as my mama's famous potato salad that my wife has mastered. So without further delay, let's get into this video. First things first, we'll get our spices together that we'll be using to seasoning our pernil. We'll start off by adding 2 tablespoons of Goya adobo seasoning. Next, we'll add 2 tablespoons of onion powder. We'll add 1 tablespoon of granulated garlic. Next, we'll add 1.5 tablespoons of Goya Saison seasoning. We'll add 2 tablespoons of oregano. Next, we'll add 2 teaspoons of black pepper. We'll next add 1 tablespoon of kosher salt. We'll give all these seasonings a quick mix, and these will be the seasonings that we'll use to season our pernil. Next, we'll add 3 tablespoons of sugar to our bowl, along with 2 tablespoons of kosher salt. This will be applied to the skin of our pernil. We'll give the salt and sugar a quick mix, and we'll set it to the side for now. Next, we'll slice up 15 garlic cloves, and then we'll crush them with our mortar and pestle. Next, we're going to add our homemade Sofrito. We're going to add 3 tablespoons to our bowl. The recipe for this Sofrito will be left in the description box below. We'll give it a quick mix, and we'll set it to the side.
Here's our wet rub that we'll put onto our pernil. Our homemade sofrito with our crushed garlic.
Next, we're going to prep our pernil. We're going to start off by getting all the excess moisture off the outside of it by drying it with paper towels on all sides. Make sure that you have enough paper towels on hand because you're going to need a lot of them. The next order of business is to remove the outer layer of skin off of our pernil. We'll use this as a blanket during the cooking process.
Puerto Rico.
Since we have now detached our skin from our pernil, our next move is to rub our pernil down with some white vinegar. We'll rub our skin down with white vinegar as well. Next, we'll dry the skin off really well until it's fully dried. We'll now dry the meaty part of our pernil. Next, we're going to poke holes in our pernil with a knife. This is where our crushed garlic and our sofrito will go. Next, we're going to rub our fresh garlic and sofrito concoction all over our pernil and into the holes that we made with our knife. We want this flavor to get down deep into our pernil. Now that we have our garlic and sofrito wet rub on, it's time to apply our dry rub that we put together earlier. Next, we'll wrap our pernil up with plastic wrap, real nice and tight, and we'll set it in the fridge overnight so as to let the flavors sink in. We'll set this on the side for now and we'll start working on our skin. We want our skin to be as dry as possible. Our pernil skin seems pretty much dry now. Now we'll start to make incisions in our skin. Next, we're going to apply our salt and sugar concoction to our skin on both sides. We'll spread the salt and sugar around very generously. Next, we'll lay our pernil skin over our pernil, and we'll set it in the fridge just like this overnight until we're ready to use it the next day. We're going to leave it unwrapped because we want our skin to dry out. This will make our skin crispy during the baking process. We're just adding the rest of our salt and sugar concoction, and then this will go into the fridge for 12 to 18 hours. Now that our pernil is out of the fridge after 12 hours, we'll season it up with the remaining seasoning that we had left over from yesterday. Next, it's time to take the plastic wrap off of our pernil. And we'll finish seasoning up our pernil with our dry rub on all sides. It's about that time we get this pernil into our roasting pan and then into the oven. So we've made a makeshift foil rack to sit our pernil on. Now we'll put our skin blanket on so that our pernil stays nice and moist during the cooking process. using up the last of our seasoning. Next, we're going to add some chicken broth, just enough to cover the bottom of the pan. This is for steam to help keep our pernil nice and moist. This pernil is ready for the oven. We'll bake it on 350 degrees for 4.5 hours to 5 hours and 15 minutes. Since my pernil weighs just a little over 9 pounds, the rule of thumb is 30 minutes to 35 minutes per pound. Then after that, we'll bake it for an additional 40 minutes or so on 450 degrees so that our skin gets super crispy. Into the oven we go.
Okay, here's our pernil, fresh out of the oven. It's been in there for almost 5 hours, 45 minutes or so. And as you can see, our crust is nice and crispy. Nice and crispy. Just beautiful. Absolutely, the skin is perfect. Nice and crispy. You hear it? Just absolutely perfect, folks. Wouldn't draw it up any other way. And I tell you, I just took a little piece off right here. It is so tender. Look how tender that is. And the taste is absolutely amazing. Just absolutely amazing. Seasoned to perfection, folks. I wanted to take it out so I could take pictures of it and use it as a thumbnail. But as you can see, it is so tender, it's just falling apart. I can't even move this thing. The whole pernil is just falling apart. The meat is just, it is just super, super tender, as you can see. Just look at that. Just look how tender that is.
Pernil is so good, flavorful. You really put your foot all in it.
Well, thank you, Mother.
Look at that. Tender. See all that seasoning in there?
Oh boy.
Look at that. Nice and tender.
Falling right apart. I couldn't even move it out to take a thumbnail picture of it because it was just so tender, falling apart. That's what we want, folks. Sacrifice my thumbnail for that.
Let's try it.
Oh yeah. You hear that, folks? You hear that? You hear that, folks? Perfectly seasoned pork shoulder or pernil with my wife's homemade rice and beans. And everything, I mean everything, was absolutely spectacular. If you look at this here, this pork shoulder, you see the different seasonings. This thing, the flavors in this thing is absolutely amazing. All right, absolutely amazing. And my wife's rice and beans, as always, they always hit the spot, as well as her potato salad.
That's gonna wrap up our video. Please like and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell as well. Comments are encouraged. And thanks for watching. But most importantly, don't forget the bon appetit, peoples. To bon appetit.